Imagine a ship so big, so magnificent, that the world called it unsinkable. A floating palace, 882 feet long, made of steel and human ambition. But just 4 nights into her maiden voyage, this giant would sink beneath the icy North Atlantic, taking over 1,500 lives with her. This isn't just the story of the Titanic's sinking. This is the story of how human ego, competition, and innovation came together to create a doomed giant. From the shipyards of Belfast to the freezing Atlantic, we're uncovering the real story, how the Titanic was built, and why she was destined to fall. Welcome to Fated History. And today we're going deep into the rise of a legend that the world thought could never die. The early 20th century was a golden age of ocean liners. Cunard Line had launched the Lusitania and Mauretania, 2 record-breaking speed demons. White Star Line couldn't beat them in speed. So they decided to win in size and luxury. J. Bruce Ismay, head of White Star Line, and Lord Peary of Harland and Wolff shipyards in Belfast, formed a bold vision. Let's build 3 ships that will redefine ocean travel. The Olympic, Titanic, and Britannic. Titanic's blueprints stunned the world, 882 feet long. Decks, 16 watertight compartments, marketed as virtually unsinkable, interiors rivaling the best hotels in Europe. Newspapers called it the Ship of Dreams. Investors rushed in. This wasn't just a ship, it was British national pride. A floating statement of power, but competition brought immense pressure. Cunard was ahead. The Titanic had to launch on schedule, no delays allowed. Corners began to be cut quietly. Cheaper rivets were used in some areas. Safety checks were rushed. The obsession with outshining rivals was more important than perfection. The Titanic was born in a race, and like many rushed races, mistakes were built into her steel. In March 1909, construction began at the Harland and Wolff shipyards in Belfast. The city turned into a living machine. Over 15,000 workers, some as young as 14, labored day and night to bring this giant to life. There were no harnesses, no modern safety measures. Men worked 6 stories up, walking on narrow steel beams without ropes. Accidents were frequent. Official records say 8 workers died, but locals knew the real number was higher. Titanic's hull was built from giant steel plates, each weighing up to 3 tons. Riveting teams of 4 worked in perfect rhythm. One heated the rivet, another threw it, one caught it with tongs, and the 4th hammered it into place. Over 3 million rivets were installed this way. The sound of thousands of hammers echoed through the shipyard like a metallic heartbeat. On May 31, 1911, Titanic's massive hull was launched into the water before a crowd of 100,000. It was like watching a beast awaken. Then began the interiors: carved oak staircases, marble floors, chandeliers, electric lights, luxury above deck. Meanwhile, deep below, boiler rooms and coal bunkers were built for the stokers who'd work in brutal heat. Every plate, every rivet was infused with human sweat, pride, and a sense of history. The Titanic wasn't just a ship, it was a city in motion. By 1912, Titanic was complete, and when people saw her, they were in awe. First-class passengers entered through grand foyers decorated with oak panels, gold trim, and ornate ceilings. The grand staircase became the ship's iconic heart. Titanic had electric elevators, a gymnasium, and even a heated swimming pool, something no other ship had. The first-class dining saloon seated over 500 guests, serving lavish 11-course meals. Second class offered comfort unheard of elsewhere. and even third class, for immigrants, was far better than what most ships provided. The crew of over 800 was carefully selected: officers, stewards, engineers, musicians. Captain Edward Smith, nicknamed the Millionaire's Captain, took command for his final voyage before retirement. On April 10, 1912, Titanic departed Southampton. Crowds lined the docks waving as the unsinkable ship set off. Cameras rolled. Pride filled the air. Above deck, champagne glasses clinked. Below, stokers shoveled coal into 29 boilers, sweating in the fiery belly of the ship. Titanic was more than transport. She was a layered world, a palace above and an engine of human labor below. Aboard Titanic were 2,224 people, millionaires, middle-class travelers, poor families chasing the American dream. Each deck held its own stories, but hidden within the ship were fatal oversights. Only 20 lifeboats were on board, enough for barely half the passengers. The watertight bulkheads didn't extend high enough, a flaw that few noticed. Despite multiple iceberg warnings, Titanic maintained near top speed. Arriving on time was a matter of reputation. On the night of April 14th, the North Atlantic was deadly calm. At 11:40 p.m., lookouts spotted a massive iceberg. They rang the bell and called the bridge, but it was too late. In just 37 seconds, Titanic struck the iceberg. Below the waterline, the hull plates buckled, tearing open 5 compartments. The unsinkable ship could only survive 4 compartments flooding. With 5 breached, her fate was sealed. Water poured in as officers struggled to understand the scale of the damage. The myth of unsinkability shattered in minutes. In just 2 hours and 40 minutes, Titanic disappeared beneath the waves. Over 1,500 people died. Many third-class passengers never made it to the lifeboats. Some boats launched half-empty. The freezing Atlantic showed no mercy. The world was stunned. How could the greatest ship ever built sink on her first voyage? Investigations revealed the truth. Overconfidence, design flaws, cheap rivets, insufficient lifeboats, and human error all played their part. But Titanic changed maritime history forever. Lifeboat regulations were overhauled. 24-hour radio watches became mandatory. The International Ice Patrol was formed to monitor iceberg danger. More than a century later, Titanic still lies 12,500 feet below the surface. She isn't just a wreck, she's a symbol of ambition, brilliance, mistakes, and tragedy. Her story reminds us that nature doesn't bow to human pride. Titanic wasn't destroyed by nature alone. She was undone by human pride, haste, and the illusion of control. Her story is more than a shipwreck. It's a mirror, reflecting our ambition and our flaws. If this journey took you back in time, if you felt the weight of this story even for a moment, hit that like button, subscribe, and tell me in the comments which part shocked you the most. History holds countless stories like this, tales of greatness and tragedy. Let's uncover them together